What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to make these pretty flowers. So I've already designed them myself and I've already saved them onto my computer. So now I'm just going to go to upload and I'm going to look for the petal design that I did. And this is the one. We're going to insert it and now we're going to size it to whatever we want our flower to look like. So this is going to be a pretty big flower and I'm just using the regular size sheet of paper, which is I believe 11 by 8.5. So now I'm going to add a score line, and this score line is going to pretty much cut this part of the flower, and I'll show you guys why I need that cut. And I'm going to align it to make sure that it cuts it in the middle. So it's only going to do that part there. And we're going to change this, instead of scoring, we're going to do cut so that it cuts it for us. Now I'm going to attach it onto there. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate it so that I can do cut 2 sheets of paper at the same time. And I'm going to use a larger mat here, so I'm going to use the 12 by 24. And I'm going to move the bottom petal down a little bit more so that there's space for everything. And here I am just setting up my paper in the correct spot. Excuse my mat, it's pretty dirty. I use it a lot. And you pretty much continue the whole process through as many colors as you want. So now I'm going to show you how to curve your petal. You grab your, I'm just grabbing this spoon here, just anything that will help you to make a curve. I'm using this spoon, and this is something that's worked for me. And it'll do the trick. I don't have to buy any fancy stuff just to make this curve. So I'm going to grab my 2 fingers and separate them a little bit, so the bottom finger is going to go against the spoon and the top is going to kind of help the curve of the flower. So you press back onto your middle finger, and with your front finger you're going to use it to just kind of guide you through the curves there. And that's how you do that part. And then we're going to go on and move on to the other side of the flower. And you're just going to repeat that with all of your petals. So you just have to be careful when you're curving it not to pull on the paper too much so that it doesn't tear. And there you go. There's a curve. And you're going to do this with all of your petals. So now we're going to do the second layer, which is a smaller layer. And here I'm just going to change the color so that you can kind of see the sizes. So the black one is the one that we just cut, and this white one is going to be the smaller one, which is going to be our second layer. And I'm just kind of sizing it against the black one so that I can see how I want the petal difference to be, I guess. And then I'm just going to hide it. I'm going to duplicate this white one, and I'm also going to do 2 so that I can cut 2 at a time. And now we're going to make it. We're going to change also the size of our mat to a 12 by 24 because I have a longer one. And then rearrange them so that both of my sheets of paper will fit and it'll cut where I want it to cut. And you repeat the process. You fold them with the spoon or whatever it is that you decide to use. Now we're going to take a look at how we made the center of our flower. And I'm just going to go into Google and Google luau flowers, go into my images, and I see that this is the one that I want. I'm going to save it, and I've already saved it on there, so I don't need to do it on here again. Now we're going to go into our Cricut mat. I'm going to upload the image, choose it from my folders, and then you can already see that it's pretty much already highlighted, and that's how it's going to cut. And we're going to save it as a cut image. We're going to choose the flower, insert the image, and I'm going to contour the flower now, which pretty much I'm choosing what I want to cut. So here I'm just going to choose just the petals, and I'm going to size it according to however I want, and then I'm going to duplicate it, go back into the contour so that I can choose just this little pointy stick. I don't know what it's called, but the little pointy part. So here you see that one of the petals is still on there, so I'm just going to go back into contour and click that petal again so that it'll be erased. Now the reason that I did that was because I want to change the colors of both the petals and the center part of the flower, which you saw previously. You can choose the petals to be blue, and then that center could be red or pink or blue or whatnot. So here, whenever you click on attach, it's going to make them all the same color. And in this part, what I'm doing is I'm doing the bigger center. I used the other smaller one for something else that I did, but I'll show you guys later. So here I'm showing y'all pretty much the large petals and the smaller petals, and they're already folded at the ends, kind of to create like a more realistic flower, because you know flowers are curved. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to put them together. So because these flowers are going to be big, I want to make a big circle. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the edges of the paper into kind of a curve. And then whenever I place the petals onto this, they're going to be in a circle. So you see that the circle there is not very perfect. It's not a perfect circle. But whenever I place the petals on there, it will look like the circle. So we're going to put our larger petals first, put these smaller ones to the side. And I want the petal facing down, so I'm going to glue this bottom part onto the circle, and I'm going to pinch it a little bit on the bottom, which lifts the petal up a little bit. And I'm just pretty much going to continue the process all the way around. And as you can see, it looks nice and pretty, and it gives it more of a realistic look. And then you squeeze the bottom so that it can lift your petal up a little bit, so that it's not just completely flat on there. and squeeze it a little bit. Squeeze it. And our last big petal. So you see that it created a circle. So your back doesn't have to be perfect as long as when you're placing this, you're placing it in a circular direction. All right, so now we're gonna put the small ones. We're gonna do the same thing, put the glue on the bottom part with the curves facing out. And I'm gonna place this between the two larger petals. And I'm going to do this to all the other spaces. Pinch it. So let me show you what I mean by pinching. If you pinch too much, this is how it's going to elevate. So you're pretty much controlling the flower with that cut that we made in the middle. And by the pinching it, you're controlling how, I guess, three-dimensional, or I don't know how to explain it, but how much you want your flower to pop. So this flower, I want it to pop a little bit, but not too much. So I'm only pinching a little bit. All right, so here you have it. Those are 2 layers. And now I want to make sure that I secure the flower to each petal so that each petal is secure and they don't all just kind of move around, and also that the bottom is secure to the flower so that it doesn't come apart. So I'm securing the bottom and I'm also securing the petals to each other. And be very careful because this hot glue gun gets really hot. Oh, that got a little nasty, but I'm just gonna move that out of the way. And then you just continue the process throughout the whole thing. All right, so the back is nice and flat and glued. Now I'm going to show you how to put the center in here. So I'm going to choose the yellow petals with the blue center. And here I'm grabbing the scrap of what it cut so that I can kind of see which petals go where. And before I glue them on there, I want to lay them down to make sure that they are where I want them to be and they're nicely spaced out. So just kind of getting an idea of how I want to lay it down on the flower, where I want it to be. That looks about good. So I'm going to grab them in the order that I want them placed. And now be very careful with this part because it's a very thin piece of paper and I burned myself a couple of times. So just barely get some glue out of your gun for these smaller pieces or thinner pieces. And then I'm going to place it where I want it and press down a little bit because it is pretty hot. Please excuse the background noise. I'm pretty sure that you'll be able to hear it on here. My fiance is watching a movie, and he loves to feel like he was in the movies with the volume pretty high. So let me just go ahead and speed all of this up. Pretty much making sure that the petals are where I want them to be. All right, there we go. So that's it. That is how you make this pretty luau flower Moana inspired flower. Isn't it pretty? Look at that. Ooh, ooh. So there you guys have it. This is pretty much how you make all of these. They're pretty easy to make. Please like and subscribe my channel if you liked what you saw, and don't forget to follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks again for watching.